Welcome to the DD Post Sports Chat. I'm Rubenstein here with Kristin Kurelic, and it's playoff football, first week of the playoffs here, and got three area teams in the field. First, we'll start off with the single A bracket. Clay-Battelle comes in at 8-1, where they had the one forfeit that they didn't count on there, but still, despite only losing one game, it seems like they have a pretty tough draw here.
They do. Clay-Battelle just missed being able to host a home playoff game. Kind of a bummer for them with that new field, but they came in seated at number 9, and they get number 8, Wahama, on Saturday night at 7:30. That's a pretty tough draw. Wahama is the defending state champion, knocked off Madonna in the final last year, and Wahama is 9-1 at this point, and they're going to be some tough competition.
You were mentioning a little bit about their game. How does Clay-Battelle match up against that with what Wahama's strength on the run game?
Wahama is a run team. They're going to run the wing tee most likely, and they have several. They have a real fast running back. Their quarterback can run. They've got a nice fullback as well. They're not going to disguise what they do. They put up a lot of points. They've only been held under 50 3 times this year. So, that's the question. How will Clay-Battelle match up to someone with that sort of a high-powered offense?
Going into the AAA bracket, the game of the week probably for the entire playoffs is Morgantown University, at least in my mind. Second time in 3 weeks that these two teams are playing. Does that favor one team over another, that they are playing so quickly? They're playing each other, so quickly in back-to-back games?
Your guess is as good as mine and as good as anybody else's at this point. I guess the history of it, if you look back, when they've had to rematch in the past years, has favored the team that lost the first game. Or if the team that did win the first game won, it was they had a much tougher time. I think in 2007, University blew out Morgantown in the regular season and barely won the playoff game. So I guess. If you look at it historically, that's how it would go, but, it's tough to say.
They both had a bye week after the Hawks beat MHS 14-3 in the regular season matchup, so they've been able to rest their players and things like that. But do you think either team will unveil new wrinkles, or are they what they are at this point?
I think that for Morgantown, they are what they are, and they always have been, they always will be. They're going to run first. They're going to play physical, tough football. They are not letting anyone know the status of Chazzy Thomas and Ethan Goldcamp going into the game, which, that probably is smart on their part. Right. But whether or not Chazzy is back or fully healthy or what his status is, they're going to do the same thing. It will just be with different people. University, on the other hand, it's going to be typical of what they've looked like this year. However, what was interesting about the first matchup was there were only 52 plays run, so really neither team showed a whole lot. And University, Coach John Kelly said, we do have some more things to show. We have some more options that we just didn't get to in a shortened game. So you could see something a little different, a little more interesting from University this time around.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it plays out, because I think UHS like that grinded out type of a game, and if it gets into a high scoring type of a game, you would think that would favor the Mohegans. But either way, I guess just kind of looking at the bigger picture of the bracket, when you look at the two sides, it seems like one side's kind of a lot more stacked than the other.
It does. If you look at the bracket on paper, that top bracket, it does have the top-seeded Huntington in it, who is undefeated. No doubt a good team. Wheeling Park's up there, a good team. South Charleston, even at the number 12, is going to be a tough matchup for Wheeling Park in that first round. However, you look at the bottom bracket, and you've got Morgantown and University. You've got Martinsburg, the 3-time defending state champ. You've got Cabell Midland, who knocked off Morgantown in the semis last year and went to the title game. So and you've got Capital, who's the number 3 seed, and they're a tough football team, and it definitely looks like that bottom bracket, whoever comes out of that is going to be playoff tested for sure. John Bowers, he didn't really want to talk too much about the bracket in general. Coach John Kelly was a little more forthcoming and said, hey, I would pretty much put my money on whoever comes out of this bottom bracket is going to be your state champion.
Do you think Morgantown University, whoever comes out of Saturday night's game, do they have the toughest road to Wheeling?
I I would say, yeah. I would say probably so. They have to, whoever comes out of that game is most likely going to be on the road to Capital next week. Should they survive that, they're on the road to, you would think, if everything plays out according to plan, on the road to Martinsburg.
Sure.
Should they survive that, then, we're off to the Super Six in Wheeling, and, you're going to get a Huntington, a Wheeling Park, a South Charleston coming out of that top bracket. So, whoever comes out of this game, if they're to go all the way, they're going to earn it.
And it seems like that because if you go by the sports writers poll, if Morgantown University did that, you're talking about them probably beating 3 of what the sports writers consider top 8 teams in the state. So it'll be interesting to see how that one plays out. And so it seems like you're projecting that probably whoever does come out of Saturday night's game will have to travel to Capital. When you look at just the next step of the phase, Capital, Hurricane, that it's probably going to be Capital.
Yeah, I would say that's a fairly safe assumption. I mean, no slight on Hurricane. They're a playoff team, but that Capital team looks pretty strong coming in at number 3.
All right, very good. Kristin, appreciate your time, and please continue to check vdpost.com for all the latest on our area high school football teams. Thanks for watching today.